This is the game plan. Let's go. When the team's on the air, you better know that it's over. These dudes colder than wintertime, grab a pullover. And if Cordell starts to speak, better know that it's on. He shut you down before you speak to let you know that you're wrong. So get your facts right, homie, before you step in the flames. Because James hates sitting down and listening to lames. And if Danny got $1 for every show that he kills, he'd be a millionaire living up in Beverly Hills. But if Holden wasn't a good guy, you'd probably be dead. Because this dude won't stop until he gets in your head. So turn the volume right up, because the game plan is on. The best in sports commentary is right after this song. Peace.
Welcome back. It is so good to be back. It's your host, Cordell Moody, as usual. Here's the game plan. I've missed you guys. I really have. It's been too long, and I'm back to give you guys all the sports that you guys need. But before I do that, we have a new co-host with me. I'm so excited to bring him in. His name is Eric Alvarado. Eric, talk to the people.
Hey, what's up, people? Hey, listen, Cordell, first of all, I just want to thank you for this. All right, I've been dying to do this. I've been dying to get and link up with you. Listen, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for the opportunity. And I'm ready to give the people some good stuff. So let's just get to it.
Let's do that. And there's so much to go through, and I apologize to our fans the fact that we've been out for like 3 weeks, but you know, with the hurricane and everything else has been going on with the radio station, we had some technical difficulties, but I am back. We're going to get straight into it. First thing I want to talk about, because it's been on my mind, I know it's been played to death. I know a lot of people don't even want to talk about it, stick to sports, but we have to get into it at least one time this show. And then after that, I promise you, I'll get you guys all the sports that you guys need. But I need to talk about this protest. Let's talk about all of this that's been going on for about 365 days now since Kaepernick already did it. It's over 365 days. But Kaepernick starts off with his knee, and it's led to this point now. Let's get your take, Eric. Let the people know what you feel about it.
Listen, first of all, I just want to say, listen, me and you, we both have good friends of ours that have served in our military.
Of course. And
in no way would we ever disrespect them. And we're grateful for everything that they do. Okay? I personally have no problem with the way they're protesting. I don't think it has anything to do with the military, but I can see both sides of it. I can see where people would see the disrespect and not be too fond of it, and you get that backlash that side of that side is giving us. But it is a silent protest, and in comparison to a lot of things we've seen in recent history, it's peaceful. And I think it's what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do. I think it's an issue that needs to be resolved, and I think it's one that needs to be at the forefront of everybody's mind. What do you think?
Well, here's my thing. I got a more bold take that I want to take. I have an issue with the people who have an issue with this protest. And it's as you've already said, of course, this has nothing to do with everybody who's out there fighting for our country. This has nothing to do with the military. This has nothing to do with loving this country. This has everything to do with making awareness to an issue that is going on in the country. And I can't stand the fact that people want us as media members to stick to sports. But then when you have Breast Cancer Awareness Month going on and they want to make aware something such as an issue as breast cancer, there's no issues with that. When you want people to be aware of the funds that you're raising for your community, there's no issues with that. When we talk about domestic violence and we want to make people aware of that and we're in people's lives as far as that is concerned, nobody gives us any backlash on that. So what I am starting to see for myself, this is my own perception, is that people only have backlash with things that they do not agree and have an issue with what they're making aware of.
I can totally agree. I mean, listen, when I meant that, I get both sides, right? I also agree that maybe the other side of it, the people who feel like they're being disrespected or feel like the protest is disrespecting the flag or the veterans, but what also they don't remember is that, especially the NFL as a whole, they're very supportive of the military. They have their veteran. They support the veterans. There's always players going to different stations where the troops are being stationed, and they're always reaching out, and they always show respect. So that's why I have a problem with seeing why they think they're disrespecting the veterans. I just think that, and also listen, even with the bad publicity with this protest, it's still being talked about. So I think Kaepernick's idea and his mission, I think he's kind of winning.
See, I thought so as well. I really did, until Trump decided to get involved. As soon as Trump got involved, that's when this thing took a turn. Now, when it first took a turn, I was all for it. I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Everything is turning. Now maybe Colin Kaepernick can get back into the league because everybody's taking knees now. But the entire conversation is shifting because now everybody's talking about protesting Trump and not talking about the awareness that Colin Kaepernick originally started with. Everybody's doing this unity thing now because of Trump. It's a unity against Trump. It's not a unity against oppression for minorities. That's what I see it as. I didn't see Tom Brady doing anything before. I didn't see Aaron Rodgers. I didn't see anybody really doing much besides Colin Kaepernick and a few other people that would take a knee. And now everybody is talking about linking arms. And my thing is, linking arms is not as impactful as taking a knee. Honestly, if Colin Kaepernick, the reason why, for instance, the Dallas Cowboys, what they did this past game that they had, they took a knee.
With Jerry Jones?
Yes, with Jerry Jones. They took a knee before the anthem, and then they stood up, and then, hard on chest throughout the entire anthem. The only reason they could do that is because Colin Kaepernick already took a knee. If Colin Kaepernick originally started this protest by kneeling, and then when the anthem came on, he stood up, nobody would have even noticed that he was kneeling. Nobody would have even paid any attention to him because he just stood up. Obviously, he was taking a knee. Maybe he was tired, whatever have you. He stood up when the national anthem played, and it would have been no big deal. So Colin Kaepernick needed to do what he did in order for Jerry Jones to do what he's doing. But if everybody is now going to stand up and lock arms, that to me, you're losing. You're losing in this case. The whole thing is shifting. It's changing again, and that's not what we need to do.
I'm not gonna totally disagree with you, but I see where you're coming from. I mean, I think that, listen, the NFL teams and the camaraderie inside the locker room, they want to be unified, right? And they don't want this to divide them. So I think they're just figuring out a way where they can do something together, but also make a statement. I actually kind of liked what Dallas did. They took the knee before, and they didn't want to take the knee for the entire national anthem, but they did all take a knee. They showed the world that they're unified as a team, and Trump's statements about the NFL players is not going to divide them. I kind of like that, but I don't want to beat a dead horse. You know what I mean? With the whole Trump thing and his statements, they were wrong, and I just think that this is only just the beginning. We're only a quarter of the way into the season, and who knows what's going to happen next.
Well, let's talk about that because everybody wants to know what happens next. So this whole thing happens this past weekend, and everybody, owners to staff members to players to coaches, everybody's taking knees, everybody's locking arms. So Thursday night came around, and Aaron Rodgers asked that the fans join in with their unity. Not as many people joined in as you would like to see. So you can see the difference in the division that's going on. But what's next? You have the Steelers who say that they are all going to attend the anthem this week, and they are all going to stand. So,
in Baltimore, might I add.
Yes, in Baltimore. So the question is, where do they go from here? Fan reaction is a huge part of this. I have seen people who have quit their jobs, who have worked for an organization. The Buffalo Bills had a staff member who decided to quit his job. He said that was the last straw for him. He wasn't going to work for them anymore. I have seen Ravens fans, speaking of the Baltimore game, I have seen Ravens fans burning season tickets and multiple other type of fans burning their season tickets. So where does the NFL go from here? What is the next step? That has to be something that everybody's thinking about for this week and then the weeks to come, because if they only do it for 1 week or 2 weeks, that's dead. That's not really bringing any
Yeah.
noise. You need to continue to push forward with it. So what do you think's next?
Oh man, I mean, all we can do is speculate, but I'm not sure what they should do. Obviously, I think they should stand their ground, and they should do what they feel is right. Um, what I didn't like though by the Pittsburgh Steelers is that the entire team stood in the locker room and they left their one boy outside,
Well,
the war veteran.
from what I understand, they didn't leave him outside. He kind of walked out there on his own, thinking that others were going to follow suit. Now that is a miscommunication on both sides. I don't know all of the details to it, but Roethlisberger came out with him, and they had a strong statement to support him and what he did and why he did what he did. And everybody, my issue with it, honestly, is the fact that because he stood out there and stood up, hand on his heart, for the national anthem, there are a lot of people out there who are saying his ticket sales have gone up. Let me backtrack a little. His jersey sale,
Sales,
has gone up, and
rightfully so.
and it is because he is a real American. Now that's the part that bothers me right there.
Well,
Real
okay.
American. What
Real American. Yeah.
No. Everybody who was, last time I checked, everybody who was born in the States is a real American. And then
Is a true American.
Yes. And then you have, your people who get their citizenship who then become Americans. So this
Right.
whole him being a real American because you agree with what he did, that to me rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the whole real American idea, that just, it doesn't make sense. It's not right. If you wanted to call him a hero, I'm all for it. Obviously,
Well,
we
hold
appreciate
on,
everything he's done.
Hold on. Right. I have to stop you again right there.
Sure.
Hero bothers me. Now, if you're calling him a hero because he's a veteran, cool. I'm cool with that.
That's
if you're
why.
calling him a hero,
That was the only reason.
Okay. See, that's why I had to make sure that we
Not
understand.
for his stance in standing for not for what he did during that national anthem.
Okay.
But for what he's done for our country.
Okay. I needed that clarification. Yeah.
Yes. No, I should have clarified. He's in that aspect. Yeah, I mean, going back to what the NFL should do, or the players, I think they keep doing it. I think you're right. I think if they just do it for a week or two, it was all for nothing. I think they continue to do it. They keep taking a knee, and they show the world that it's an issue that they won't let get put into the backside. Like it needs to be addressed, and I think, who knows if this could ever happen, but maybe the NFL owners or big time superstar players and other players around in other sports and other coaches, such as like a Popovich, who I don't know if you've heard about his comments about Trump and whatnot. Popovich, maybe a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, some NFL owners or players, especially Kaepernick, get into the Oval Office and resolve this.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because the NBA season is just around the corner. We've already had Steph Curry and the rest of the Warrior team say they're not going to the White House. They're going to take a trip to D.C., but they are not going to the White House. You have...
Well, they were uninvited.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course, uninvited after they already said they weren't going. But then you have LeBron calling him a bum. So my thing is, since the NBA is around the corner, I'm curious to find out what exactly is the NBA going to do, because you cannot tell me that they don't have to do something and it's all just on the NFL. That's not fair. That's not right. So something has to be done, right? So
I agree.
So what are they going to do? Because they are mandated to stand for the anthem.
They are.
So,
yeah.
So what do you think?
Say that.
Yeah.
Right?
So what do you think they should do?
Man, I wish I had an answer. I don't know. I'm gonna have to deflect that question because I just, since they can't take a knee and they're obligated to stand, maybe they link arms. I mean, maybe that's all the NBA can do as players. who knows? You might see a brave soul, a Kaepernick-like soul take a knee anyway, and dare Stern to punish him how he sees fit.
And you know what? That would be interesting if somebody did do something like that. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back with you guys with more to come. We may get back into this. We may shift subjects. We'll see exactly what happens. Stay tuned. Don't change that dial. We'll be back. WUBA 88.1 FM. And we are back on the Game Plan. It's your host, Cordell Moody, bringing you all your sports as usual with Eric Alvarado. We did just leave off talking about the anthem as promised, and we do want to get in some last-minute statements. So what I would like to say is I would like people to be more considerate towards the NFL players themselves, because I keep on hearing talk about millionaires crying about oppression, and it just doesn't make sense to me why you think money means that they can't be oppressed. Money doesn't make somebody not oppressed. Just because you have millions of dollars doesn't mean you haven't experienced something as far as racism or prejudice in your life, or that doesn't mean that you don't have family members or other friends who are experiencing those things. And if you want to speak up for those things, for those people, because you have the platform to do so, then I think you should be allowed to, because honestly, at this point, there's a lot of people who say that they have an issue with the way that this is being protested. But my thing is, if you go in the streets and try to protest, you can get run down. We've already seen that happen. If you do it on your own time, in your own personal time, with your own personal account, if you want to go on social media, you can get in trouble like Jamel Hill did. And if you decide to use your platform, you can get in trouble like Kaepernick. So there is no right way to protest, because a good protest makes it impactful and makes you uncomfortable. It makes you more aware. If you do something that's all goody-goody, that's not going to get any attention, then that protest isn't going to go anywhere. What's your last statements, Eric?
I mean, before we jump off this topic, I just wanted to say that I love my country, and I want to see it do better. And that's exactly what these players in these protests, that's what they want. I think that everybody just needs to see the issues that these people are trying to raise awareness for, and not see it as a disrespect to the flag or the veterans. It's important. And if these people don't believe in what the actual national anthem is saying and what it stands for, then I think they have every right to take a knee and raise awareness. That's just about my take on it. We could go on for days about this.
Of course.
And it looks like it's going to be an issue that's not going away anytime soon. So I'm sure there'll be more time to talk about it.
Exactly. So now let's get into what everybody's been waiting for. Let's talk some sports. Let's
do it.
let's get into this Thursday night football action that we just had, which honestly did not live. If you ask me, this did not live up to the last week's Thursday night football game that we had, Rams versus 49ers. This one didn't live up to it. But the main reason I would say is because of Glennon. Mike Glennon, what a game he had. He had more interceptions than touchdowns.
That's right.
I don't know what to say about him. They spent a lot of money to bring this guy in, and he hasn't panned out. Now they also spent a lot of not money, but a lot of resources to get their quarterback for the future in Trubisky.
Oh yeah.
So here's the question: What do you do if you are the head coach of the Chicago Bears? Do you think it's time to put him out there? You have Watson, who was picked number 12 overall, right? And you have Trubisky, who was picked number 2 overall. Now, if Watson is prepared to do it, why can't Trubisky do it? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. What do you think?
Listen, this is what I think, all right? And when you're talking about resources, all right, they spent some good resources on Trubisky. And to be exact, they gave up 4 picks to move up one spot.
One spot.
Just one spot. That just shows you how much belief they have in this kid. And I think 4 games into the season, the Glennon trial should be over, and the Trubisky era should begin. And if it doesn't begin, it's definitely looming. Listen, just the small sample size you got from Trubisky in the preseason, he looked good.
Mm-hmm.
He looked good, and I think given these 4 games, you can see what it's like, game time, real time. I think he might be ready. I think they were just trying to buy their time with him, and I'm with it. I'm a fan of Trubisky. I was out of college. Let's do it, right? Why wouldn't they? Why not?
I agree with you, but at the same
They're
time,
1-3. What else do you want to see from Glennon?
I don't know if it's about Glennon as much as it is maybe about Trubisky. Now, you already brought it up as the preseason. He looked pretty good, but it is preseason. We all know that. So when you have to take that with a grain of salt, if you ask me. But they may be saying that his development isn't where they want it to be in this offense. Maybe there's something that we don't know. We don't get to see him every day in practice. So maybe they're letting Glennon stay out there while they continue to shape Trubisky, because we've seen quarterbacks who've gone out there too early before they were ready, and it's seriously affected them. So maybe they're trying to protect him by not putting him out there too soon. And you know what? Even though they are 1-3, it's only been 4 games. Usually, you don't see these type of things happen until maybe halfway through the season, maybe more, before they make a change like that and give them that game time experience. But
listen, I don't think it's getting any better. I don't know what else they need to see. And it is not crazy for them to just put Trubisky in. This is an era of where these guys they're taking high draft picks on quarterbacks, and they're expecting him to start right away. Deshaun Watson, like you mentioned, he's been great. And I don't think there's any reason that Trubisky can't be just as good, if not better. I'm over Glennon. I've never been a fan. I've never been sold on his skill set. Listen, it's just time. It's time.
I agree with you. I personally would say, throw him in there, throw him to the Wolves, because that's just what we do now, honestly. Quarterbacks, that's just what happens now. There is very little time that we spend developing quarterbacks unless you want to go and play for the Rams, because the Rams obviously felt that way about Goff, and they did not play him for quite some time. But it's panning out for him now. So maybe it's going to be a Goff-type situation where the Rams weren't playing that well, and then they finally gave Goff a chance later on down the road in the season. And maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe he needs a little bit more time like Goff did, and maybe he needs more weapons. We'll see exactly what happens. Now, I don't know how they're going to get weapons because they gave up so many resources. But but they have a great running back right now. I'll tell you that much. They got a running back who's being a stud.
Yeah.
So,
yes, they do.
So they just need this is hard.
You might be right with the weapons that they need. I mean, I was thinking so they get rid of Alshon Jeffrey, right?
Right.
And then they let go of Victor Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of receiving core did they think they had to let these guys go?
I really don't know, but that's been a question for a lot of people, because I think the NFL just thinks because they see so many random wide receivers become really good players that they can find one themselves. But what I've also noticed is a lot of those teams that have those random wide receivers who become really good players also have a really good quarterback to go with it.
And probably the ones that you're thinking of are in really good systems with a really good coach.
Absolutely. And, just to give out some random teams, you could easily go with the Patriots. Obviously, they just keep on popping out wide receivers like it's nothing.
I feel like I can go out there and make something happen if I was a Patriot.
Yeah, but moving on with this game, I want to talk about this hit. Now, Danny Trevathan, that hit that he laid, a lot of people say he should be suspended for it. The NFL's reviewing it right now. I'm sure you've seen the hit. I'm sure everybody else has seen the hit. What do you think of this hit? Do you think it was a dirty play? Do you consider him a dirty player now? Do you think he should get suspended or fined? What are you thinking?
I don't think that he should be suspended. Nor do I necessarily think he should be fined. I think he definitely, at the very least, he will be fined. And chances are he might be suspended too. But no, I don't think Trevathan's a dirty player. He hasn't had a history of being a dirty player. It's hard, and you can hear everybody talk like NFL players. It's not easy to hit a target that's falling down when you're moving that fast. And I think he was just trying to make a play. They were down 14 points. He was trying to make a play or make a big hit, get some momentum, some confidence in his team, maybe pop the ball loose. I don't think it was a dirty play. It doesn't look intentional. Unfortunately, sometimes things like this happen, and hopefully Davante Adams is all right. But no, to answer your question, I don't think he should be suspended. He probably will lose some money, but life goes on.
See, and here's my thing, because obviously the NFL has made some new rule changes. They're all about player safety, so everybody is discussing that he should be suspended because of the fact that he did lead with his helmet, and the only reason they say that he led with his helmet is because he did put his head down. He wasn't looking up when he made the tackle. He put his head down, which everybody who knows fundamental tackling knows you never put your head down when you're going to make a tackle. So he did make an error, and because of that, he did make a dirty play. Now, I don't think he should be suspended. He should be fined, but I don't think he should be suspended because I feel like we are on a very slippery slope right now with the NFL and how we're supposed to tackle, because I have also heard in the media that, he shouldn't have even got in on the play. He was already going to go down, but hey, I get it. The whistle's you play till the whistle. And my thing is, you cannot take this away from football. This piece right here, because if he doesn't get knocked unconscious or hurt, whatever happened to him, if that doesn't happen, I don't think we are making as big of a deal about this, because Absolutely. It was a literal football play that happens all the time. He just missed by inches where he hit and his head being down. And
when you're moving that quickly, it's tough. Those inches, that's hard to adjust.
It really is. And I've always been taught that you finish plays, right? You finish that block, you finish your route, you finish that tackle. So
all the way to the whistle.
All the way to the whistle. And when you're talking about this play, you have him wrapped up. So the next person's job who comes in is supposed to try and pop that ball loose. You come
Absolutely.
in, you lay the big hit, you try and jar that ball out. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
Make a play.
Exactly. So I can't sit here and condemn him and say he's a dirty player. I can't sit here and say he should be fined.
No.
That's ridiculous. He should be fined. I'm sorry. I can't say he should be suspended.
Right. I follow you.
If he gets fined, so be it. I'm not arguing with that. But suspended for multiple games, that's a little too much for my blood. I
agree. It's a football play. He might have led with the helmet, which is a big no-no. But had Davante Adams not been falling down, that helmet might have been on the ball, and you might have seen a fumble. It's just a shame, and I hope that it doesn't make too much noise, because it's a football play. Football's a tough sport, and sometimes things like this happen, unfortunately, and I don't think there's a way to avoid it. I don't think that the NFL can ask the players to make any other more adjustments than they already are asking them to.
Yeah,
it's too tough.
It is.
They're too fast and they're too strong.
And I find it really to be unfair, but it is what it is at this point. We'll see exactly what the NFL does come down with as their judgment. Only time will tell. But we are going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of NBA, and then we'll give you guys the previews for this week's NFL action. Hoops. We're hooping it up right here on WUBA 88.1 FM. Stay tuned. And we are back here, Game Plan time. I'm your host, as always, Cordell Moody. Alongside with me, our brand new co-host, Eric Alvarado. And we're switching it up for you guys right now. We were talking a lot of NFL. We talked protests. But let's get into the NBA now. It's time to get into a little bit of NBA, which is a little shocking because you usually don't talk NBA in the offseason, because the offseason is pretty dry usually. But this offseason, man, The amount of moves, the amount of players gone to different teams, it's hard to keep track of. And this news that just broke today, you have Westbrook, who just signed 5-year deal, $233 million. He's locked in. Obviously, I would say it has to do with the Carmelo trade going over there. What are you thinking of this? What do you think of these moves that's happening in the NBA? Are you more excited this year than last year? Tell me what you're thinking.
Listen, I get excited for the NBA season every year. I actually am one to think – I believe that the offseason NBA is almost just exciting as the regular season itself. It's like almost every year we're seeing a big blockbuster trade or big superstars moving teams. Listen, what I think about the Westbrook thing, I'm just thinking about all those Lakers fans who thought that he was going there. Okay, he just crushed all of your dreams with that. OKC's looking very nice right about now.
So what do you think? You got them over the Warriors? What do you think? What are we thinking?
Absolutely not. Don't even ever say that again. Listen, I think between Oklahoma City and the Celtics, I think they're both the winners of the offseason. OKC, I think without Carmelo, but getting Paul George, I think they made themselves definitely a better team. I don't know about Western Conference. Maybe, they get a game out of the playoffs or, a series out of the playoffs. But with Carmelo, I think that we see an Oklahoma City and Warriors Western Conference Finals. What do you think?
Finals. Hey, I'm with it. Honestly, I became a little bit of a Thunder fan. A little bit of a Thunder fan.
God.
A little bit. Not a huge.
Is it because of Melo?
It's because of Melo, man. It's because of Melo.
Melo took a piece of my heart with him to Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Right?
And I really thought he was going to go to the Rockets. That's what the reports were for the longest.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah, but I think he, at this point in time, when we got here to September, the season's right around the corner, he just wanted out at this point because all of a sudden he's willing to waive his no-trade clause to go to this team, to go to that team.
Yeah.
So clearly he just wanted to get out ASAP, and he's out. He's there now. I feel bad for Chris Paul. I want to say that.
Me too.
Because Chris Paul obviously went to the Rockets with the intentions of Melo being there as well, so that the three of them between Melo, Chris Paul, and his name is escaping me right now. Help me out.
Paul George?
No, James Harden. Jeez.
James Harden.
James Harden, Chris Paul, and Melo. That was the dream that he wanted to come up. It obviously didn't happen. Now it's Paul George, Westbrook, and Melo. But the thing that is shocking to me is why everybody's going out west. It doesn't make sense. Everybody has gone west, and everybody's talking about, well, not everybody. The media is saying that he's gone out west, and everybody else in the NBA has gone out west to get away from LeBron. But that doesn't make sense to me. If you really think about it, LeBron is going to struggle to beat the Warriors. Why are you going out west to compete against the team that beat down LeBron and the Cavs last year? That doesn't make sense. You're going into a more difficult situation. Like, you're fearing the name of one man instead of fearing the entire team of the Warriors. That doesn't make sense to me.
I agree. I think it's just the state of the NBA where players just want to play with other great players, their friends. And let's be honest, all the good teams are in the West. And that's where everybody's going to gang up. So that's where all the good teams are.
So we can't make a team in the East. That's what you're telling me. We can't find a way to make a team. All the changes that have happened, 3 of these guys going to get together and make something happen?
I guess not. I guess the money didn't work out. Everybody's afraid of LeBron in the East. But I must say, Boston will give Cleveland a run for their money this year.
That's what you
guaranteed.
Guarantee it. Why?
I guarantee that they will give them a run for their money.
Why are you so confident?
I think Boston just got better. I think losing Jay Crowder hurt for defensive purposes, but getting Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, that team is just – it's good. And it might not be good enough to beat the Cavs, But they'll make noise, and they might give the Cavs a run for their money. Who knows? Is there another team in the East? Can't think of one.
Well, no. There is. I'm not gonna say that there's another team in the East that has a better chance at beating the Cavs. I'm not gonna say that, but I do not think the trade helped them get any closer. I think that the Boston Celtics are just as close as they were before the trade.
You think so?
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying this is because they gave up so much just to get Kyrie. Like, they gave up bank, if you ask me, to get Kyrie to come over to Boston. And I think that the Cavs were the winners in this trade, honestly. You gave up draft picks. You gave up, oh, my goodness, Isaiah
Good
Thomas.
Players.
You gave up Isaiah Thomas. You gave
not to mention they lost Avery Bradley too.
Exactly. So to me, go ahead.
No, I get you. I'm listening.
Yeah, so they just lost too much to me, and I don't think Kyrie can take up that much. As far as offensively, I really do not see a difference between Kyrie and Isaiah Thomas. I don't. I think that they are both dynamic offensive players who can make their own shots happen, and they can make them in the clutch times as well. I think they're both phenomenal in that sense. Now, the only thing that I would say that Kyrie has on him is size, and that helps him on the defensive side of the ball. But
I think you're right. They're both very explosive offensive players, but you can't say that Isaiah Thomas is just as good as Kyrie. You just can't. Listen, I'm a big fan of Isaiah. I'm a big fan.
The only reason you can't say that right now is because Kyrie Irving has a championship and Isaiah doesn't. But if Isaiah Thomas goes out this year and gets a championship, I guarantee it's a different conversation that we're having. It's just
Isaiah Thomas, he's on the right team.
Right. So okay, here I'll present it to you in this way. So if you take Kyrie without LeBron, and we've seen that already, right? We've seen Kyrie play without LeBron, right? And now
with as good as of a roster, even without LeBron.
Okay, so
it still wasn't as good.
Okay, fair enough.
Because there was no Kevin Love.
Right. So, but we're just talking offense, right? We're just talking the offense, right? And as a weapon offensively. So we've seen what Kyrie can do without LeBron offensively by himself, and we have seen what Isaiah Thomas can do offensively without LeBron James. I don't see that big of a difference between the two. Now, when LeBron James gets added to the picture, different ball game we're talking about now. But the two of them without LeBron James, we've seen what that looks like for both of them, and I don't see a huge difference. I think that Kyrie is going to go over there. He's not going to be that big of a difference. It's going to be the same type of offense. He's going to drop the same type of points that Isaiah Thomas dropped. That is what I'll say. That is what I mean by he's not going to be that big of a difference. He's not going to drop more points than Isaiah did when he was with Boston.
And listen, you might be right. If I was a betting man, I would say you were wrong. I think Kyrie's gonna have a great season. I think the only thing he's really gonna miss from being on Cleveland is the opportunities that LeBron creates for other players around him. That's the one thing he's gonna miss the most. But other than that, I think listen, we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I think Boston got better. I think they got better with Kyrie. Especially, he's a better defender. Not saying that either one of them are good defenders.
Yes.
Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. They're not great defenders, either one of them, Kyrie or Isaiah. But I think you get a step up on the defensive end with Kyrie. And more experience. He's a winner. He's a proven commodity in the NBA. And I see bright things happening for Boston.
All right, so we're going to agree to disagree, but I'm going to remember this conversation because I'm telling you right now his stats will not be better offensively. I'm only talking offensively. His stats will not be better offensively than the stats that Isaiah Thomas put up last year. That is what I'm going to go
We'll
with.
have to make some friendly bet.
We will.
All right.
But we're running out of time, so let's talk about these NFL games that are coming up. Right now, we're going to get into it. Saints at Dolphins. Who do you got? Why?
I got the Dolphins, and reason being, they're coming off a disappointing loss to the Jets. I don't trust road Drew Brees. I don't trust Drew Brees on the road, even though in Carolina last week he did have a great game, but normally it's safe to say that he's not the same as when he's in New Orleans, and I think the Dolphins get the running game going. And I think Cutler against a weak Saints secondary, I'm taking the Dolphins.
I'm going to take the Saints. I just saw with the Dolphins, I just saw the Dolphins get upset by the Jets, and I know the Jets have a better defense than the Saints, but I also know that the Saints have a better offense than the Jets. So
I'm not mad at it.
Right? So if the Jets can put up points against the Dolphins, I know for sure that Drew Brees can put up points against the Dolphins as well. So I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think that the Saints are going to come away with the victory in that shootout. That's the way I'm going with it. Let's get to the next game. Let's talk about the Giants at Bucks. Who you got?
All right. Well, I got the Giants going.
Hold on. Do you see the Giants getting their first victory?
Absolutely not. Not yet. Not yet. Listen, I think Winston goes off. The Winston and Mike Evans connection will be very strong this game. The Giants secondary is, I think they're like the bottom three. I don't see them getting anything going, and I don't see many celebrations by Odell this week.
I'm taking the Bucks. I'm with you on this one, and it's not even just Mike Evans. It's Mike Evans. It's Deshaun Watson. It's O.J. Howard. I'm waiting to see Howard break out. I think he's going to. He's due for it at some point in time.
He is due.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this game. And I honestly do not see the Giants. Their season will be done after this game. Their season will be done officially. 0-4.
Listen, if you go 0-4 in the first 4 games of the season, you're toast.
Especially in the NFC East. I don't care what you want to say. They're done. But
You're out.
A team that's actually surprising people. Let's talk about the Jags at the Jets. We have a surprise team. They ran Robshot all over the Ravens, and then you have the Jets, who everybody's saying maybe they're not tanking this year. Maybe they're not the worst team after they came off a victory against the Dolphins. Who do you see coming away with this victory? Do you see the Jets actually surprising people again and taking out the Jags, or do you see the Jags turning back into the Jags and losing to the Jets?
I don't see the Jets winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I got the Jags in a close one here. Listen, Jacksonville has been sneakily good. They're a good, young, fast football team. Can we just say that they should have their stadium in London? That should just be their home, because they always play well in London. And they made Baltimore look like a high school football team. Let's be honest. I got the Jags winning in a really close one. But the Jets are definitely not tanking. Let's be real. They're trying. They're trying. They're just not a good football team.
I have the Jags turning back into the Jags this week. I really do. I think they
Hey, you may be right.
They've had their moments to shine, but I am just not a big believer in Doug Marrone. I've seen what he did in Buffalo, and I've seen him get to fast starts in Buffalo, and I've seen his team tank. And I'm not a big fan right now with him. I don't believe in him yet. He's going to have to prove that. A couple more wins under his belt will do so. And then we'll talk a little bit more about him. But I do see an upset right here in the Jets taking out the Jags. I really do. And we were just talking about the Baltimore, so let's talk about it. Let's Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Who are you taking?
God, I love this game. This is the one that you look forward to every season. I personally, best NFL rivalry. It's always a great game. It's going to be close, as it always is. Listen, both teams coming off a tough loss. Pittsburgh taking a tough loss to Chicago, and Baltimore being annihilated by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But like I said, in another close game, I got Baltimore winning. I think Flacco throws for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, hopefully. But it's going to be a good game. What do you think?
I obviously love it, but if you're not somebody who likes offense, if you're somebody who likes offense, you're probably not going to enjoy this game. I think it's going to be one great defensive game. I think the Ravens are going to bounce back, and because they are home after the embarrassing loss that they just had, I think they will find a way to win this one. I think they will lose when they go to Pittsburgh, but this week, I do think that Baltimore will bounce back and get this W for their team, for their home crowd, after that embarrassment that they just put up in London to represent the United States of America.
I think you might be right.
So, last game we're going to talk about, Rams at Dallas. Dallas came off of, they got spanked. So, what do you think Dallas is going to do to rebound in this game against the Rams?
I see a lot of yards for Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, everybody was talking before the season started about this Rams defensive front, but they haven't lived up to the hype. Let's be honest. Teams are running on them, and they're having a lot of success. I just think that the Dallas's offensive line, I think they win the battle in the trenches, and I think Ezekiel Elliott has a good game, and Dallas comes away with the win.
I'm going to go in the other direction. I am drinking the Kool-Aid on the Rams. I'm telling you,
You're drinking that golf Kool-Aid?
I am drinking that golf Kool-Aid, and it tastes so good. Let me tell you. I believe in golf because of the weapons he has. He has so many wide receivers. He has Sammy Watkins. He has Robert Woods. He's got Kupp. He's got Gurley in the backfield. I just believe in this offense. I believe in what they're doing. I think that they're going to find a way to upset Dallas, make all those Cowboy fans put their heads in between their legs and walk away. And that's how it's going to be. I can't wait to see these games happen. Any last words you have to say, Eric, to the people?
To the people, to all of our listeners, thank you. Thank you, Cordell, my wonderful host. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. To many more, huh?
We're having so much more. Everybody, stay tuned for us. We will be on air Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. If it's hard for you to remember, just remember, if there is not football being played that day of the week, we will be on air. Tune in to us 8 p.m. every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. We look forward to talking to you guys again. Have a good weekend. Enjoy.